My hand here, and this tells me this is the front because the pulmonary artery is coming out at an angle and it's always in the front. So if you find the pulmonary artery at the very front going out at an angle, you know you've got the front of the heart. Okay? From the top, this blue here is the superior vena cava, coming from the head and shoulder region, bringing blood to this right atrium. Here's the right atrium. Okay? So that's the superior vena cava. If you look at the underside of the heart, back here, is the inferior vena cava. So the inferior vena cava and the superior vena cava meet in the right atrium. Okay? So, question?
No.
All right. So inferior coming up from underneath, superior coming from the top. Okay? Right atrium. Oxygenated or unoxygenated?
Unoxygenated.
Unoxygenated.
Blue.
On the right side, it's unoxygenated. Okay? So there's the right atrium. Let me take this off.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah. There we go. All right. So right atrium. So this cavity here is the right ventricle. Okay? This is the atrioventricular valve, or the AV valve. It's on the right side, so this is also called the tricuspid. You don't have to know the tricuspid, it's an AV valve. If it has heartstrings, it's the AV valve. Okay? So blood comes in to the right atrium, goes through the AV valve to the right ventricle. The right ventricle pushes it up through the semilunar valve. It's also called the pulmonary valve. This goes into the pulmonary artery. It's blue, it's unoxygenated, it's going away from the heart to the lungs. Okay? So if you notice, this pulmonary artery goes in one direction and then it also splits back here to go in the other direction, goes to both lungs. Okay? So the pulmonary artery is unoxygenated going to the lungs. Okay? Once it picks up oxygen in the lungs, it comes back to the heart, to the back side, through the pulmonary veins. They're red, but they're veins because they are oxygenated. Okay? So the pulmonary veins come in and they enter into the left atrium. So this chamber here is the left atrium. Coming in from the right side of the right lungs and from the left lungs, they meet up in this left atrium. Right? Blood goes from the left atrium through this atrioventricular valve. Okay. This one you do need to remember is called the bicuspid valve. Okay. So over here it's the tricuspid. This is the bicuspid. This is the one that a lot of people have problems with as they get older and they need to have a valve surgery because the bicuspid has a lot of pressure behind it and sometimes it leaks as you get older and have open heart surgery to fix the valves. Yes.
I know that's the right ventricle, but if we call it the tricuspid valve, it would we forget that
That's
it's
fine.
okay.
So this is the tricuspid, this is the bicuspid. Both of them are atrioventricular valves, or AV valves. Okay, goes into the left ventricle. The left ventricle then pushes it up through the aortic valve inside here. This is also a semilunar valve. Okay, it goes through that to the aorta. This is big red aorta.
Wait, it goes through the white part? The three?
It goes through this semilunar valve inside.
No. Okay.
This is the aortic valve.
Okay, cool.
Goes in through the aorta. This is the aortic arch. The aorta comes out of the heart. It arches over and comes down the back of the heart. So if this was to extend, this would be the descending aorta coming out down behind the heart. Okay. This is the aortic arch, and at the very top of the aortic arch, in the very center of the split, this is the carotid artery. It goes to the brain. The other two go to the shoulders and arms, forelimbs. Okay? And then the descending aorta comes down behind the heart, going to the body. Okay. Okay? All right, some types of questions that would be on your exam. If blood is in the right ventricle, what vessel does it enter? Right ventricle. Right.
Wait.
If it's in the right ventricle, where is it going and what's it going to enter?
To the up to the pulmonary thing?
The pulmonary artery. Yes.
Artery,
Right
okay.
ventricle pulmonary artery. Okay, another type question, is the blood in the right ventricle oxygenated or unoxygenated? Unoxygenated, okay?
Everything on the
Blood
right
is
is
in the left atrium. What valve does it go through?
Right pulmonary.
Or try.
The bicuspid. Bicuspid is on the left. You can also call it the left AV valve.
So everything from the right
Bicuspid.
moves left, and everything from the left moves right, basically.
What do you
like it's like you said, the valve on the right side will go to the left bicuspid.
No, this is the tricuspid.
Right.
It's on the right side.
On the right.
And it will, blood enters from the right atrium
stays
through
on the
that
right, okay.
to the right ventricle. The right
Okay.
ventricle sends it to the lungs.
Think of it kind of like a figure eight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does a
That's-
figure eight.
That's what I'm thinking. Okay.
Yeah.
So it loops and comes
Yeah.
back around instead of.
And
thinking it
then
rolled.
the blood comes back in on the left atrium, goes through the bicuspid valve to the left ventricle, and then through the aorta to the body. Okay. Blood is in the inferior vena cava. What chamber does it enter? Inferior vena cava. What chamber does it enter?
Right?
Right atrium.
I hate looking at it either way because
Yeah, so that's why I hold
Inferior
this way.
bottom?
See, this is right. This is left. But looking at that way, this is right.
yes.
Okay, so in blood in the inferior vena cava is unoxygenated going into the right atrium. Blood in the aorta is coming from which ventricle?
Left.
From
Left
the
ventricle.
aorta?
Yeah, blood in the aorta is coming from the left ventricle. What's this one called? This branch?
The
Superior? No.
core is something. Core is something.
Carotid.
Yeah.
Carotid artery is the one that goes up your neck.
to the brain, right?
Yeah, it goes right to the brain.
Jugular.
Okay. Questions about the? So there'll be two types of questions. Parts of the heart, blood flow through the heart, and then identify them. That's pretty much it. Okay, so identify the parts as well as the blood flow. Okay,
What is this thing?
that's a female, isn't it?